We have already stood at the end of time and watched the last light in the universe fade to black. But there is a question that is older and stranger, and in some ways far more difficult. Not how it all ends, but how it all began. And behind that question waits another, even more unsettling one. What, if anything, came before? Tonight, we do not travel forward. We rewind, all the way back, past the birth of our sun, past the first galaxies, past the first light, to the very first instant of existence. Tonight, we lift the veil on the beginning of everything. Let's run the universe backward. Right now, the galaxies are flying apart. Space itself is stretching, carrying them away from one another. So play that in reverse. The galaxies rush back together. The universe grows smaller and hotter and denser. Stars unform. Atoms dissolve into raw particles. And everything you have ever seen, every galaxy, every star, every atom in your body, is squeezed closer and closer together, until the entire cosmos is smaller than a single grain of sand, smaller than an atom, blazing at temperatures beyond anything that exists today. And then, about 13.8 billion years ago, we reach it, the beginning, the event we call the Big Bang. But here we have to correct the single most common mistake about it. The Big Bang was not an explosion that went off somewhere in empty space. There was no empty space for it to happen in. The Big Bang was the sudden beginning of space itself, stretching outward, everywhere, all at once. It did not happen at a point in the universe. It happened to the entire universe. There is no center. There is no edge. Every point in space you can imagine was, in that first instant, in the same place. In the tiniest fraction of a second after that beginning, something staggering happened. The infant universe ballooned in size faster than light itself, doubling and doubling and doubling again, in less time than it takes to blink. We call this cosmic inflation. And as everything cooled, the first particles formed, then the first atoms, and finally, after hundreds of thousands of years, the universe became clear enough for light to travel freely for the first time. That ancient first light is still around us today, the faint afterglow of creation, a whisper of heat filling all of space. It is the oldest thing we can see, the baby picture of the universe. But here is where our journey slams into a wall. We can rewind confidently to a tiny sliver of a second after the beginning, but at the very first moment itself, our physics simply stops working. Everything is crushed into a single point of infinite density, a place where the laws that describe space, time, and matter all break down at once. We call it the initial singularity, and it is a locked door. Our finest theories can carry us right up to it, and then they fail. Beyond that door lies the true beginning, and the question that haunts every cosmologist: what was there before? And now comes the twist that bends the mind, because the honest answer may be that the question itself is broken. Here is why. Time, as we understand it, may not be some eternal stage that the universe appeared upon. Time may be part of the universe, something that began with the Big Bang, just like space did. And if time itself started at the beginning, then there was no before. Asking what came before the Big Bang might be like asking what lies north of the North Pole. You can say the words, but there is simply no direction left to point. There may be no before at all, because before needs time, and time had not yet begun. But not everyone is content to stop at that wall. And so, at the very frontier of physics, there are bolder ideas, each one a different way of imagining what our beginning might really be. The first is the idea of a bounce. What if the Big Bang was not the start of everything, but a transition? In this picture, a previous universe existed, expanded, and then collapsed back inward under its own gravity, crushing down toward a point until it rebounded and burst outward again as our Big Bang. If this is true, then ours is not the first universe. It is simply the latest in an endless cycle of expansions and collapses, a cosmos that breathes in and out forever. The second idea is even vaster. What if our Big Bang was just one of countless beginnings? In some models, the rapid inflation that started our universe never truly stops. It keeps going in a greater backdrop, constantly spawning new bubbles, and each bubble becomes its own universe, with its own Big Bang, its own laws, its own history. In this vision, our entire cosmos is a single bubble in an endless, frothing sea of other universes, most of which we can never see, or reach, or even prove. And the third idea is the strangest of all. What if the universe came from nothing? Not nothing, as in an empty room, but a deeper nothing, with no space and no time at all. In the quantum world, empty space is never truly still. Particles flicker into being from nothing constantly. Some physicists have asked whether the entire universe could have begun the same way, not caused by anything, not preceded by anything, but simply flickering into existence, a quantum event at the edge of nothing, a bounce from a dying cosmos, a bubble among endless others, a quantum spark from the void, or perhaps a beginning with no before at all. The truth is, we do not know. This is not a veil the universe has hidden carelessly. It is buried at the very deepest edge of what human beings may ever be able to know. And maybe that is the most fitting ending of all. We can trace the universe forward to its final darkness. We can trace it backward to its first light. But that one last step, beyond the very first instant, may remain forever out of reach. The cosmos gave us a story with a middle we can read, an ending we can predict, and a beginning wrapped in a silence we may never break. Some veils the universe lifts slowly, and this one, at the door of creation itself, it may keep closed forever. But there is something beautiful in that too. It means that no matter how much we learn, the universe will always have one more secret waiting in the dark. If you want to keep standing at these edges with us, stay a little longer, because next we come back from the beginning of time to something you can see with your own eyes tonight, and discover it is far stranger than it looks. Until then, keep looking up. Every question you ask the sky only makes it deeper.